Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, Jay Fallon, and thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So, just quickly, let's go over a story that came out last week. A former police officer sent it to me. The thing is, I find frustrating, and I've spoken about this numerous times. There's obviously an issue. And something needs to change. And QPS, the organisation, the police service within Queensland, I think it's you that needs to change. It's you that needs to change. The burden, the onus is on the Queensland Police Service to change somehow, because you can't just keep doing the same thing and expect a different result every time. You cannot do it. So let's get into the story quickly, and you'll see why I've got this point of view. Okay, so this headline came out. It was on the 1st of April. So police shoot man during welfare check in Brisbane's north. So a 19-year-old man being shot by police north of Brisbane after his mother called officers to conduct a welfare check. The issue is this has happened so many times in just recently, so many times over the last couple of years. This is why I'm saying police need to change their strategy. We obviously have issues with mental health, and you don't have the same kind of support systems that we used to have quite a few years ago now. The system's not handling it, but police cannot just continue going to these jobs and doing them exactly the same way. This is part of the reason why I believe we've got such a rise in police shooting members of the public, because they're still going to these jobs and still doing the same thing, going through the same processes, and it doesn't work. All we're seeing is more people being shot. I think part of the problem also is the recruitment the standards have gone down when it comes to the people that we're recruiting. Now, I'm not saying this about these officers that are involved in this. I do believe there is a correlation between standards being dropped in the recruitment process for the Queensland Police Service and the amount of police-involved shootings rising over the last couple of years. And the police service needs to stop burying their head in the sand when it comes to this. Now, I'll go on with the story. So police said officers were called to Akebia Street in Rana Hills about 12:30 p.m. were attempting to speak with the man when an altercation occurred. Regional Crime Coordinator Andrew Massingham said police would allege the man produced a large kitchen knife while speaking to officers on the lower level of the home. As a result, there has been 2 shots fired by one of the male officers, he said. Superintendent Massingham said the man was struck twice in the abdomen. Officers provided first aid at the scene before he was taken to the Royal Brisbane Hospital in a critical condition. Superintendent Massingham said the call for assistance had come from the man's mother, who was present during the shooting, and that the man had previously received mental health treatment. Mum is distressed. She's traumatized, he said. Now, look, again, I'll say, I'm not saying that the police did anything specifically wrong here. I am saying that the police service needs to review how they handle these kinds of call-outs, because we're just seeing far too many end in this kind of scenario. And that's why I say you can't just keep going and doing the same thing again and again and expect a different result. Superintendent Massingham said a taser was also deployed during the incident, which will be the subject of an Ethical Standards Command investigation. Oh, no. You know, when they say this, the taser deployed will be the subject, that probably means that the officer who deployed the taser is going to get, do they still call it a Reg 11? Well, they're probably going to get some paperwork, because they're going to be looking and going, why on earth did you present a taser and deploy a taser when there was a knife in front of you, a man wielding a knife? So that officer will probably actually get in trouble. That's what I'm saying. The timing of that, in terms of when the shots were fired, will be the subject of the ongoing investigation, he said. He said the officers had body worn cameras which were operating at the time of the shooting. Now, if there are any officers out there listening to this and you can shed a bit more light on the issues of this, because I think obviously things have changed since I left the service, and especially since I left general duties. So when I'm saying this about the taser, because when I was in general duties, if you pulled a taser when someone had a knife, you would actually get what they call back then a Reg 11. I don't think it's called Reg 11 anymore, but you'd get paperwork written up against you because you shouldn't have done that. But it seems, yeah, so they're going to be investigating when it was actually deployed and if it could have been deployed earlier, is what it seems. So if you've got any insights that you can put down, write it in the comments. That'd be very helpful. So Superintendent Massingham said the police officer who fired the shots was a first year constable. My goodness. It is traumatic for all involved, and that young man is feeling it right now. Okay. So like I said, this is the issue. We've had several just in the last year now, I think it is. Definitely in the last couple of years, first year constables pulling their weapon and shooting. The Queensland Police, I'm not going to say anything against the officer, okay? He's done what he's done. But the police service needs to review their processes when it comes to going to these types of jobs. And like I said, I firmly believe that we've had such a rise in police involved shootings because we've lowered our standards of recruiting, and we have officers who can't handle pressure, who can't assess situations. You need to be able to assess each scenario extremely quickly. And what else can you say? I think we've dropped our standards, and that's why we have so many shootings. I'm not saying anything against this chap specifically, but you have to look at the broader picture. We've got far more police shootings. We've got all these people going, all these police officers being called to jobs where it's a mental health issue. And how many times does it end in the police shooting that person? The police service needs to change the way they do business. That's my opinion. I am a former police officer, and that is why I'm saying this. My name is Jay Fallon. Thank you for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing